welcome back to my channel. Today we are going over the last 12, I believe it is, books I read in 2025. These were going to be the last 2 months worth of books, minus one, which was Alchemized, that I did a separate video for. These are heavy. These are all the books I have. Crazy. Perfect. Okay. I still cannot get over the fact that I read 65 books last year. It's actually insane. Alright, let's see. I'm going to pull up my Fable and give the ratings and the reviews I did and whether or not I would recommend them, because some of them I just don't think so. I really don't. Also, we have a rooster next door. I had no clue until it woke me up and I thought it was my friend's son waking me up, and it's the rooster. Okay, we'll start with this one, Story of My Life. I gave this book a 5 out of 5. I absolutely loved it. I ate it up. Like, it was so good. This was my first Lucy Score book, and I was absolutely obsessed. This book was like reading a Hallmark movie. Like, you knew that it had to end well, but you were just waiting for them to get their stuff together and be together, basically. Small town life, sexy contractor, absolutely loved. The storyline was really great, along with a struggling author who is going through a tough time and changes things around. Through hardships, good things can be found. I cannot wait to read more of her books. I absolutely would recommend that one. I literally felt like I was reading a Hallmark movie, which was a great experience. I think that could be easily made into a Hallmark movie. It was so good. Next up, we have The Silent Patient, which I rated a 4. So many people recommended this book, and I only gave it a 4 because it was good. It was easy to read and easy to understand kind of as well, but it could have easily been given a 3.5. It just was not my favorite read ever. So the ending had me so confused. I was like, why did it end the way it did? I still don't really understand. Like, it just didn't make much sense. Like, I'm confused. Like, there wasn't much given. The book really gets you thinking of who may actually have been the murderer, but you do also question the sanity of the narrator, which we are shown he is not sane and actually kind of crazy. It also goes between the past and present without letting you know. Like, some are like past, present, this date, you know. This one didn't tell you any of that, which adds to the mind boggle. Don't get me wrong, the twist was definitely shocking. I didn't see it coming, but I also considered his motive and how sane he was. Overall, it was good and easy read. I literally put that it was bland and generic. Like, I don't know, I really enjoyed it from a psychological standpoint. Being a psychology major and how much interest I have in psychology, so I really did enjoy that aspect, which I think is why I gave it a 4, but I don't think I could recommend this one to anyone. I really don't. Like, it wasn't that great of a book. Which that might be a hot take. That really might be a hot take, because I know people love it and I just didn't. Another one that might be a hot take, which I rated a 3.8, is The Perfect Marriage. I will not be reading The Perfect Divorce. I just don't have it in me. I don't think I like this book at all. This was an easy read. However, at one point, anyone could have done it. The most obvious was considered, but there was also only 2 out of 3 who were considered. The one who's looked over obviously did it. However, there were clever ways that made you believe that it couldn't be the outcome. It wasn't exciting or gripping like others I've read. So basically, there's a murder, and everyone is considered except for one of the most obvious people it could have been, and that person did it. And I was just sitting there like, let me just get through this book. Like, I don't really DNF books, and honestly, these last 2 I feel like I should have. Definitely will not be recommending to anyone at all. Sorry. I don't know. And it could have just been that I've been reading better books, like better romance books, and I am also a Frida McFadden lover and a Riley Sager lover. So, I mean, it is a different style of writing, but I just don't know. I know they had big hype, and I really couldn't do it. Okay, another first-time author here, and I devoured this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5. Oh, it was so beautiful. I loved it. I was literally crying happy tears. This was one of the best endings in the book, a book I have ever read. The last 5 chapters alone were so sweet and really brought everything together. I love this story and how many meanings it has. The most important being love and how many versions of love there is. I cannot wait to read more of her books. Definitely one I will recommend to anyone who wants a good, easy book to read that is very well written. It was well written. You had romance and long distance and not being able to make it work, but wanting to make it work. It was just so well written. I loved it. You should read it. Okay. Speaking of Frida McFadden books, I think this may have been one of my least favorite Frida McFadden books, The Tenant. And I gave it a 3.8. And I do love a good Frida McFadden book, like I was just saying. They are so easy to read. With this one, I thought it was going to be predictable. Then, of course, there was a big twist that had me shocked. There's something so addictive about the way she writes her books that just wants you to keep reading. And I think this one just fell a little bit short for me. Just because I didn't enjoy the plot as much as the others. Like, I saw The Housemaid yesterday. I loved The Housemaid. The Housemaid was one of her first books I read like 2 years ago. I absolutely loved it and adored it. But this one, I do recommend because I love Frida McFadden. Always recommend her to anyone who wants to get into like thrillers and stuff like that. Next one being Quicksilver. I finally picked this one up after hearing so much about it. I gave it a 4.5. because I thought Brimstone was going to be better, and I read this because Brimstone was coming out. This book was more than I could have asked for. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I was not disappointed. All the relationship formed are so crucial. Seeing Kingfisher grow and adapt, as well as reasons for why he acted certain ways being revealed. Truly well written. Ceres also represents so much and stands her ground, which I love. I cannot wait for the next one, and we'll probably end up rereading this again. I loved every minute of it. By at least halfway, I did not want to put it down. It was action-packed and addicting to read. There were so many details and things revealed that were shocking but made so much sense. Everything about this book was well thought out and executed to perfection. I would reread this one, and I recommend this one. However, I don't think I could put myself through Brimstone again. And I hate to say it. I absolutely hate to say it because the plot was lost on me. Okay? The plot was absolutely lost on me with Brimstone. And I hear a lot of people say that it just fell short for them, and it fell short for me. I just rated it a 4 out of 5. I do struggle to rate low. Like, I did enjoy all the relationships forming in this book, but there was a lot of plot points that did not need to be in there. I had a lot to say about this. This book started off so fast-paced and strong. I loved it. I really enjoyed the dynamic between Carrion and Kingfisher, as well as Onyx and Archer's characters, and what they added to the story. It also reminded me of how much I love a territorial fey male, and it has all the great aspects of all-consuming love. It did a great job showing side characters and giving them purpose in the story. The development of the story and character relationship was really good. Everything for this part was well written, and the ending was insane, with what was revealed about Kingfisher and what happens in the end. However, I do feel like Brimstone was not mentioned as much as maybe it should have been. It felt like a loose end, which obviously will happen in the next book. We are left on a cliffhanger, but it's more of what does that mean than what's going to happen. Overall, the storytelling and world building was amazing, as well as the characters. It was a fantastic read. I think I just expected a little more. However, I can't really complain because I wanted to read it every free chance I had. So, like, I did really enjoy the read. It's just, like, when we were talking about Quicksilver is mentioned and why it's so important, like, a million times throughout the book. However, Brimstone isn't mentioned until at least halfway through. It's just a bunch of extra stuff in politics and world building. But, I mean, maybe I would read it again. Maybe I just didn't give it a chance. Maybe it was wrong to read it right after I read Quicksilver and it needed a breath. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll revisit that one day. But not today. Next, because I know it's coming out to theaters in January, which we're in January. I think it literally comes out in like 3 days or something. Or on Netflix, sorry. Literally coming soon to Netflix. People we meet on vacation. I gave it a 4.5. This book for the first 100 pages was a 3.5 stars. All in around page 235, it gave me the feelings all Emily Henry books gave me. I wanted to give it 5 stars, however, since it didn't start out strong, I couldn't. This book was really cute though, the hard realities of being in love and being scared of falling in love and admitting it. And I cannot wait for the movie adaptation. So far, I've seen 3 movie adaptations for all books I've read. This will be the 4th. I've seen It Ends With Us, Regretting You, and Housemaid. So far, It Ends With Us had the worst movie adaptation. Regretting You and Housemaid are right up there because Housemaid, it left out some parts and changed things slightly, but it was very, very on point. Like, I knew what was coming. It was so good. So good. And I cannot wait to see what they do with this one. The Mad Wife. I gave this book a 4 stars. This was like the first kind of book I kind of read like this that had to do with like realities of like the 1900s and stuff like that. This book really took off the last 100 pages. It was a well-told story of loss, love, and resilience. Tragedy can break us, but we can always make it out on the other side. Period. This one I'd probably recommend. Okay, I've been wanting to read this book for a little bit. I didn't read it last year because I had just gotten back from Europe and my mom's like, you're going to miss your time. This next one, Eat, Pray, Love, I gave a 3.8. I don't know. I struggled to get through it. I really did. Like, I at one point really did not want to finish it. I struggled so hard to get through it. It ended nicely. I would say the middle just dragged on and there wasn't much to it. Definitely a slow read. And it just... I was so excited. I wanted to read it so I could watch the movie. I haven't watched the movie yet, but I definitely need to. But I just don't think I could recommend this one. I don't know why. I don't know why it fell short for me. I think there was just parts that, like, really dragged on. I did like how it was, like, a big diary, but I just don't know. Alright, next. This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I gave a 4.5 out of 5. I love her books. They're just so feel good and cute little romances. And this one was so cute. It was literally falling in love with best friend's brother and ignoring their feelings for each other and then rekindling like any little romance. I would recommend that one. Atmosphere. This was my first book that had WLW romance, which I didn't expect it, but it wasn't terrible. It was really good. I just didn't expect it coming, but it does show the realities of during that time, like you weren't accepted to love who you wanted to love. I gave this a 4.5. The ending had my heart racing and I could not sit still. I felt the pain and relief all at once. Everything left unsaid. So, so good. Like, the ending made this so, so good. And I would recommend this. It was actually really interesting to hear a lot of astronaut terms and, like, because obviously they're astronauts and what they had to do. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But it was really, really good. So I would recommend most of these books. And I just don't think I could recommend these. And that's the sad reality. But those are the books I finished out 2025 with. I'm so excited to see what I read in 2026. My goal is set at 52 books to try to read one per week. I'm a little nervous that I won't be able to do it and that last year was an anomaly. But hopefully we get it done, and I will see you guys next time I have a book review. Thank you so much for watching.